the breath of life is 777 and 888 666.
People are looking for answers, and Big Dan sells the only book that's got them.
Welcome to the channel, everyone. Before I get into this video, I want to thank everyone who's subscribed, and a special thanks to those of you who leave comments. They really are great, funny, insightful. Even the people who disagree with what I do are genuine and honest. You all really are the best. I've had this video queued up for a while. I'll be honest, I don't remember what it's about other than it being ridiculous. Mia Denoto here has like 600,000 subscribers, and I'll let her explain what we're doing here.
It's Mia, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you evidence using chemistry and numerical values to show that the Bible is divinely inspired.
This video is going to be all about magical thinking, conspiracy-brained, secret messages hidden all around that affirm the God of Abraham. Idiots, for some reason, swallow this shit up hook, line, and sinker. It's fallacious, and I call it...
Just look at the flowers.
Starting with chemistry. The elements we're looking at today is carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen. And what's already cool about these elements is that they all contain the same amount of protons, neutrons, and electrons, which is rare for an element because less than 10% of all the elements have the same amount of protons, neutrons, and electrons. I just wanted you to be aware of that before we begin.
This already feels like cherry picking, special pleading, confirmation bias, and so on. Look, lighter elements are more stable, more likely to be electrically neutral, more abundant, and they all still have isotopes, meaning the number of neutrons aren't always the same as the proton count for a given sample of any element. Also, oxygen and nitrogen don't exist as elemental atoms. They are diatomic in nature and bonded with other atoms and sharing electrons. Anyway, I digress. This video isn't about chemistry. It's about Mia's absent boyfriend who totally exists, but he attends a different school, and he's really afraid for you because if you don't believe in him, guess what?
And so you see how everything ties together and that it's not probable to find these numbers organically in nature. So you can't just write this off as being a coincidence because it's common to find these numbers like this, because it's not. Anyways, now let's begin.
Wow, talk about connecting the dots and seeing the bigger picture, and it looks like a cat, and we'll call it Lenny.
Lenny's kind of slow.
Remember, it's not probable that these numbers 6, 7, and 8 come up around us all day, every day, and somehow this is evidence for what was it again?
Evidence using chemistry and numerical values to show that the Bible is divinely inspired. First, let's start with carbon. The carbon atom has 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons. All organic materials contain carbon, and carbon is found in all living things.
Take note of Mia's second bullet point. It says, an example you might be comfortable with is CO2, as if other molecules are uncomfortable in some way. Maybe she'll show us in a chemical equation and say, look at how beautiful God's world is. You know, if carbon dioxide and water can become wood and oxygen, look at the trees. Just look at the trees.
Carbon atoms move consistently through living organisms and the material world. Through the atmosphere, oceans, and the Earth's crust in what we know as the carbon cycle.
Pierre was in great voice tonight. I could tell that tonight's message was really important.
I've got to ask, so what? What's any of this got to do with anything? Let me guess, all life is fallen and God Jesus imbued us with a secret satanic message. Look, atoms are arranged on the periodic table by weight. One of them was bound to equal 12, or close to 12.
And because carbon is found in every living thing, it can therefore be symbolic of all life and substance in the material world.
Remember, kids, only members of any secret circle can decode any secret message.
I don't even know what to do with that. It's dumb. Carbon is symbolic of life and substance in the material world. and I'm a material girl. Like, what is that even supposed to mean? It's nothing but a silly, meaningless platitude.
Now, when we take a look at the Bible, the number 6 represents imperfection and mankind.
Oh, this fucking guy.
And the number 42 is the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
Because as humans, we are all imperfect. 6 is first mentioned in the Bible in Genesis chapter 1, verse 31, when God created man on the 6th day.
Just ignore him. Ignore him, Jody.
I think I found the exact article that Mia plagiarized this from because she's citing it almost word for word. Now, I'm going to read you just a little bit of it, and you let me know what you think in the comments. Maybe she come up with it on her own, but I seriously doubt it. I have come to believe that God is a math nerd. Every time I read the Bible, I always seem to come across certain numbers like 7, 12, 3. Have you noticed this? But then I saw the number 6, and knowing every word and number in the Bible is there for a reason, I got curious about what it could mean. It turns out the number 6 has a lot of meaning, and it's not just historical, it's also prophetic.
According to scholars, just as the number 7 signifies completion or the perfection of God, the number 6 is one shy of that, which means it symbolizes imperfection.
And on the 7th day he rested and made nitrogen.
Remember, Annie is depending on you.
Also, in the Bible, the number of the beast, also known as the man of lawlessness, number is 666.
People are looking for answers, and Big Dan sells the only book that's got them.
Most of the Christians I know haven't read La Biblia, and they don't know that there are like 1,000 numbers just in the Torah alone. Mia went all alpha and omega. Page 1, 6 days, and 666 in the last days. I'm old enough that I remember these things called barcodes coming into existence. And a lot of people was like, oh yeah, that's the mark of the beast, because these guard bars are like negatives of the number 6 and they add up to 666, because that's how math works.
And the beast's goal is to make mankind worship him instead of the one true God. And he does this by not letting anyone buy or sell unless they take the mark of the beast, which number is 666.
You gotta stop it! The numbers are bad! Stop! What are you doing? Why'd you do that?
Think about this for a minute. My ex once embarrassed me at the gas station because the total came out to $6.66. She would find pennies on the ground and freak out and get anxiety, thinking that it somehow was a predictor of her future. I haven't mentioned this yet, mostly because I just remembered it, but Mia's one of those idiots who type random phrases in a gematria app that turns words into numbers. She's somehow impressed by this secret code that can't be decoded.
So we see in the Bible, 6 is symbolic for imperfection, humans, and this fallen world.
Blardy, blardy, blard.
Likewise, in chemistry, carbon, which is made up of 666, is found in all humans and aspects in an imperfect world. So you see the parallel.
Oh my God.
No, I definitely don't see the parallels. 3 different groups of 6 different things definitely don't equal 666.
But wait, it gets even crazier.
Well, no duh. If you were about to make any sense at all, I wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be talking about it. Be sure to like and subscribe.
Let's take a look at oxygen. Oxygen has 8 protons, 8 neutrons, and 8 electrons. Now, Jesus' name is equal to 888 in gematria.
Mia included this slide in her presentation from whatever book she's getting this crap from. I'm wondering why the 90 was skipped after pi, but the 9 in theta was included.
And gematria is a Hebrew alphanumeric code that was probably used in biblical times and was later adopted by other cultures.
Wait, probably and maybe? I sometimes check sources, and this quote isn't from Wikipedia at all. It's from LinkedIn, and I'm wondering how anyone could fuck that up. Seriously, the wiki page says the first known use of gematria is from the 8th century. Think about this stuff. Before we had erasable pencils, and all this shit was written on parchment using quill and ink, and we didn't even have calculators. But people sat around for hours writing this shit down as if they were going to find out some secret to the universe, and all they did was sound like goddamn lunatics.
4, 8.
Gematria is just utter nonsense. It's ludicrous because there's 50,000 different ciphers. The only place I could find Jesus as an 888 is from Ukrainian Nazis. It's so dumb because it doesn't even add up. Look, Hebrew Gematria, Jesus 985. That's not 888.
15.
It's so weird because I did a video on this idiot called Ken Hovind once who went around and talked about this secret Bible message. It was worthy of Captain Hindsight. It was talking about Hitler. The Bible was talking about Nazis and Germany and whatnot.
16. 23. Hold on a minute, it's smudged.
Here's an example of what it is. In the English language, gematria, A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3. Likewise, in the Greek alphabet, alpha equals 1, beta equals 2.
I've been looking for a girl like a yeah.
Gamma equals 3, delta 4, and you see the pattern.
A-E-I-O-U.
And Jesus's name himself in Greek is equal to 888.
Pi is the formula for finding the circumference of a circle by measuring the radius.
Another thing that Mia might be getting confused about is how ancient cultures used their alphabet in lieu of numbers to add things up. For example, Roman numerals are Latin alphabetic letters used to depict numbers. There's no secret meaning or message to be divined from this shit. It's just letters being used in place of modern-day numbers.
Oh my God.
If you're wondering why Greek, it's because the New Testament was written in Greek. And the Bible says that Jesus is life. And Jesus is equal to 888.
I'm not a smart man.
Let's forget about Sigma skipping 190. Why is it when I go and translate LJC to Greek, it looks like Mia spelled it wrong for some reason?
And multiple titles used for Jesus in the Greek gematria are divisible by 8.
You are writing your own story.
So physically, we need oxygen to live. Oxygen gives us life, and spiritually, Jesus gives us life.
It was nice of Mia to illustrate this stupidity so simplicitly. Carbon 12 and oxygen 16 have jack shit to do with Jeebus and La Biblia. What a weak-ass boyfriend that has to hide inside the spaces in between things. It's sad that her guy is so pathetic.
And it's 888 and 888.
The majesty of creation lies before us now.
I do want to point out one of Mia's mistakes on this slide that stood out to me. 83 times 50 is only off by 21,450. Does the rest of Mia's math add up? Let me know in the comments.
It's incredible because we know from science we need oxygen to live because that is what we breathe. And the Bible says we need Jesus to live because it says Jesus is life. So we need Jesus to truly and spiritually live and thrive.
Oh, here we go. My father told me to bang my head against a rock, and I did it. I thought it was crazy, but I didn't question him.
Just like we physically need oxygen. Next, let's take a look at nitrogen. Nitrogen has 7 electrons, 7 protons, and 7 neutrons.
Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair.
7 in the Bible represents completeness or wholeness and perfection. So 7 3 times is the complete perfect number, representing the Trinity for the 3 sevens.
Mia has 552,000 subscribers, but some of her videos, like this one, only have like 5,200 views, meaning less than 3% of her subs and new viewers are watching her content. I don't want to get into another video, but Mia has no problem repeating lies. Let me show you what I'm talking about.
I trust what the Bible records because it's a reliable collection of historical documents written down by eyewitnesses during the lifetime of other eyewitnesses. And it was written where the events took place, which means it was subject to scrutiny and correction by those who were present for the events. This makes it highly unlikely that the gospel writers could have invented or embellished the story without being called out by those who knew the truth. The eyewitnesses record supernatural events that took place in specific, detailed, and time-bound prophecies.
I think Mia's been eating some bad Adams at her tea parties. There are no real biblical scholars who think the Gospels were written down by eyewitnesses during the time of these so-called events. Mia said in this video that the New Testament was written in Greek, and that begs the question, why aren't the oldest manuscripts written in Aramaic?
So what we breathe to give us life, the breath of life, is 777 and 888.
So that's really dumb because breathing nitrogen doesn't do anything for us, and it's 78% of our atmosphere. Plus, there's CO2, argon, and water vapor. Look, there's one girl, she's 16, she did it 69 times with 3 guys. What is she?
In nature, in chemistry, and in the Bible.
Mia included some rando stick drawing of a molecule that she or her editor found online from the same website I found this drawing that she should have used, asking exactly what she doesn't understand. Do you think she could point out the different hydrogen bonds and explain the difference between them? Do you think she could point out any organic molecule and know the difference? It just kind of really blows my mind.
Historians and archaeologists will confirm that what we read in the Bible was all written thousands of years before any of this science was discovered.
It pisses me off. Mia shits all over science while standing on the back of giants and reaping the benefit, ignoring the strife and struggle and the long march of progress, proclaiming it so obviously in her big book of fairy tales. This guy, Antonio, was decapitated via guillotine for tax fraud and selling unadulterated tobacco, whatever that is, during the French Revolution. But he loved Jeebus, and that's proof that carbon is the mark of the beast and protons are the days of creation.
6 right here, 3 at the other end of the chain. 6 plus 3 equals 9.
What are we to divine from Mia's message? What knowledge and wisdom is imparted onto us? Did we learn anything other than La Biblia has a lot of numbers in it? And we can point out more complex equations and say, just look at the trees. Mia says she was bringing evidence. Did she bring any evidence, or was it just a bunch of platitudes and nonsense?
This is just one of thousands of pieces of evidence that prove to us and show us that the Bible is truly divinely inspired by God.
Mia didn't bring any evidence whatsoever, let alone bits and pieces that are supposed to add up to something. Mia's essentially Ralphie, but doesn't have little orphan Annie's secret decoder ring. Seriously, what does carbon have to do with buying and selling of goods at the end of days?
Because no man could have came up with these numbers thousands of years before the science was discovered.
Is it just me, or does Mia look like she fell out of an idiot tree and hit all the branches? Why not use actual scientific numbers like 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd and say, look at the number of carbon atoms in 12 grams of carbon-12, and we'll call it moles. And the Bible mentions moles, and it says they're creepy things and not to eat them.
Yes, you can. The beauty was in your heart, not your hands.
It is truly amazing and Reading the Bible is truly a blessing because we know it is truly God's word.
Your music's bad and you should feel bad.
So if you want to know God and you want to get into a relationship with Him, read the Bible. And if you want to know where to start, I've made a complete beginner's guide for Bible reading.
What do you think, gang? Should I go check out Mia's Beginner's Guide to La Biblia? It would probably be fun, right? Because she's going to make a total fool of herself.
So make sure to check that out.
This is a great place to end this video. I think I've said everything I need to say, and she's got all this shit to say. But, thanks for stopping by. Like and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments.
8, 9, whatever. Don't you think that before we go over and accuse and start some shit, we should find out for sure?